There's a knock on the door, and a 13-year-old boy by the name of Nikita is knocking on the door. He studies in my school. He tells me, "Rabbi, is it true that the Moel's here?" I said, "Yes." He says, "I'd like to do a bris today." I asked him, "Does your mother know?" He says, "Yeah, she's on her way." So I close the door. I tell the Mohel, Reb Shaya, I tell him we have to hurry on Boris because we have to fit on another bris before Shkia. Boris hears this, he's not too happy. 15 minutes before Shkia, this boy comes into my office, and I see he's scared. He's frightened. And I told him, "Nikita, you sure you want to do this? You seem scared." He's like, "Yes, I have to do it." And he keeps on saying, "I have to do it." And I'm like, "What do you mean you have to do it?" He called his mother. I didn't tell him the mole was here. He found me himself, like, okay, we do the bris. After the bris procedure, I'm talking to him as they're taking care of the medical aspect that needs to be done after. And I'm like, "Tell me, Nikita, why'd you do this? I see you're scared, right? You're scared." He said, "I'm terrified." "What brought you in today?" And he tells me the following story. He said, "This summer I went to your camp, your overnight camp." He said, "In camp, the head counselor offered who wants to get an aliyah by the Torah, who wants to be called up to the Torah." I said, "I want to." But he said, "It's going to cost you." I said, "I don't have money." He said, "No, it's not money. You have to do a mitzvah. If you take upon yourself a good mitzvah, we'll call you to the Torah. We'll make a blessing for your mother, your grandmother." I said, "Great." And Nikita says, "My counselor always told me it's important that I have to have a bris, I have to have a Jewish name." So I raised my hand. I said, "I'm going to do a bris." They said, "Great." And then before he finished, I said, "I'm going to do it within 3 years." Why did I say 3 years? Because I'm terrified. I don't want to do a bris. But 3 years gives you enough time to calm down. Great. But then the head counselor says, "Wait, we have a problem." "What's the problem?" The head counselor says, "I live in Moscow. After camp is over, I'm going to go to Moscow. How do I make sure in 3 years, maybe you're not going to do it? I need a guarantor." So Nikita looks at his counselor, a boy by the name of Sholom, an 18-year-old boy that's a Baal Shuva. He himself came back to the fold, started keeping Torah, Shabbos, Kashrus, started living a Jewish way of life, and he brought his parents along with him. And he's an amazing boy. He was like a child to me. He looks at him and he says, "This counselor of mine, Shalom, is going to be my guarantor." When they heard that, great, they called him up for the Torah. And that's the end of his story. And he says, "Now you understand why I did the bris today?" I said, "Why?" I knew why. Because Shalom, this boy, this amazing boy, was killed in a tragic car accident a few weeks before this. And Nikita looks at him and he says, "I couldn't wait 3 years. I wanted to wait 3 years. If not for my counselor passing away in such a tragic circumstance, I would have been here in 3 years' time. The last day, I promise, is when I would do it. But I know that Shalom's neshama is waiting for me. I know that Shalom is waiting up there. He's calling me out, reminding me." That's why the second I heard the mole came to town, I said, "I'm going to come here and I'm going to do this mitzvah for Shalom." And I couldn't say anything. I was crying. I looked at this boy, Nikita, 13-year-old boy. His family is non-observant. He didn't know anything until he came to camp. And he's willing to have such tremendous self-sacrifice. Why? So his counselor's neshama should have an aliyah, should rise up in heaven. When it comes time to naming, I fill a cup of wine and I say the naming ceremony. "What name do you want? What Jewish name? You do a bris, you get a Jewish name. What name? V'yikara shmo b'Yisrael." And he looks at me and says, "What do you think?" Shalom. He took his counselor's name on that special day in honor of his counselor that was with him for all those years, for a couple years in camp. And I look at this boy and he's saying, "What inspires me?" Nikita inspires me. Today, Nikita is 16 years old. This summer, he was a counselor in my camp. This summer, he was influencing other children so that they should also learn what it means to be a Jew, like their grandparents, like their great-grandparents.
Мы не утонем, мы в огне, мы не сгорим.